Kirstyn, are you done finishing off your notes right as we start?
Look, confidently I can say yes-ish.
All right. Well, I guess we should just start. You are listening to Rent Free in My Head, the podcast where we take the thoughts that are squatting in our heads and help them set up residence in yours, free of charge. Each week, Kirstyn is going to tell me the story of a true crime case.
And Jeramie is going to mess with my head and yours by telling us about an unsolved mystery that we will just cry about later because we don't know any updates from it.
And we never will. Nothing but questions.
And we'll just all be sobbing together.
And that's how it should be. All righty. How are you, Kirstyn?
I am delightful, Mr. Jeramie. How are you? Are you enjoying your tea?
Not tea. This is wine. Did you think I was going to do this sober? I don't do anything else sober.
Yeah, look, I didn't think it was tea. I was a little bit surprised that I saw a teacup. I just kind of assumed that there was possibly something else in it, like wine.
I'm trying to appear fancy.
Maybe change your shirt then. For those of you who can't see it, he literally is wearing a shirt that has a coffee cup on one side that says AM and then a wine glass on the other side that says PM. It's just, sweetie.
You know.
I'm at least wearing a collared shirt.
Very professional. Good job. So what do you have for me today, Kirstyn?
Okay, so when I was deciding what to do, this is my notebook. It says I am avo control. And I was like, you know what? First week, we're going to do something to do with avocados. So I literally Googled avocado crimes.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I was like, surely there's a crime involving an avocado. And then I kind of just went down a little bit of a rabbit hole to do with avocados. So
the best place to go, though. Okay.
I love avocado so much. Oh my God. Did you know that can we swear? Yes.
I'm sorry, but we're going to be talking about heinous murders and shit like that. I'm pretty sure explicit is given.
Oh, well then, like a fuck ton of avocados are grown in Mexico, which like I didn't know, but like kind of makes sense now that I think about it.
Isn't it like their high? It may not be their highest export, but it's like the highest thing America imports from them, I think.
So 80% of the US avocado market is sourced from Mexico, making $2.5 billion in trade. Like 2.5 billion.
Oh,
like that's a lot of avocados. But the most prolific, I was really worried I was going to say that word wrong. Grower of avocados worldwide.
That's fine. Don't stress if you say a word wrong, because there's a lot of words that I say wrong on purpose and can't stop, won't stop.
That's like the argument between pedo and pedo. I just think pedo sounds funnier. Pedophile.
Neither is funny. Both
are... No, like not the subject. The subject isn't funny, but like the word pedophile, like that's gonna make me sound like a horrible person. I'm just gonna stop what I'm saying. Anyway, back to avocados. So the most prolific grower of avocados worldwide is, I'm going to mess this name up. I did listen to the pronunciation 5 million times. Michoacan, Mexico, which is west of Mexico City. And fun fact, has a population, I'm going to say this wrong as well, of 4,584,471 people, which I just feel like it's like a lot of people for one town. City.
I don't think that's a town, because like once you hit it, that's like that's like a fucking metropolis, man.
Right? But like I Google mapped it because that makes the most sense to me, and like that's what it told me. But like it also didn't seem like that big in square foot either. Please don't ask me what it is because I didn't write that down.
But I'm not surprised considering you were finishing your notes. As we started recording an hour after the time we said we would record.
I originally didn't have this in my notes. And then I was like, I'm going to give him some facts on Michoacan.
Okay, I like facts. I'll take them.
Thank you. Okay, so being in the avocado business is clearly super profitable. the not so great people have dipped their hands into it, which is not surprising because, you know, like bad people want money. Like everyone wants money. Bad people are just low-key kind of good at it compared to the rest of us. Like, you know, I don't know about you, but I'm broke ass.
Yeah.
And so because of this, the avocado business has actually become as brutal as the cocaine and heroin business. So I know, right? That was literally my reaction to it as well. I was like, surely not.
There
like,
is something in them cardos. What?
Right? I was like, I love an avocado too, but I just don't know if I would like murder someone over it. Like, as an avocado.
No.
So, who is running this, you may ask? It's the cartels, of course, because it's Mexico and that's where cartels are. I don't know.
I think I've just figured out how I knew that avocado fact about Mexico's import.
Is it to do with cartels?
Yes. Is your case to do with cartels?
It is.
I may have heard your case before, but please continue because
no,
I've heard a lot of true crime cases.
No, that's true. Honestly,
but I also could be wrong, and also I would have heard it ages ago. It's just that one particular fact stuck in my brain.
The way that I'm going to tell it is going to be different to the way other people have told it, or you would have read it because it's me. I'm
pretty sure either Kenyon or Amanda told it on Wine and Grind.
Oh no!
In the Cartel Crimes episode.
Wait, I've listened to the Cartel Crimes episode. I swear.
Maybe it wasn't then. Maybe I'm imagining it. Either way,
I was really paranoid that I was going to make reference to one of their crimes because, like, I listen to it all the time. So
that's fine. I have to reference another podcast for the credit for mine. So, like, for me finding out about mine at least. So we got to give credit where credit's due. Other podcasts exist. So
literally, though, and like check out Wine and Crime.
Yeah, we're like
a good podcast.
We're like babies. So
literally, there.
Like this is our birth.
Sorry. Anyway. So like if you want a definition on cartel, I wrote it down because I just felt like it was appropriate because like I know what a cartel is, I think. But anyway, so a cartel is an association of manufacturers or suppliers with the purpose of maintaining prices at a high level and restricting competition. I feel like in that definition, it should say like murdering competition.
Yes.
Because when they're restricting them, that's pretty much what they're doing.
Well, I mean, you are pretty restricted when you're dead. Like, you can't do much.
I mean, it depends on how fresh you are, because doesn't your body still kind of like move, like right after you die some ways?
That could last for a while as you decompose.
Exactly. So you're not like fully restricted to movement.
No, but like you competition-wise, you're pretty fucking restricted.
All right, shit, man. I was just saying. So anyway, I tried to Google how many cartels there are in Mexico. But apparently that's not like a Googleable. That's not a word. Apparently that's not a question that Google can answer for me. So like fun fact, the biggest is the Sinaloa cartel. This is as 2021, so that information could have changed in 2 months. I don't know. And it's headed up, but I didn't get the guy's real name because I just thought his alias name was so much funnier, which like, please don't fucking murder me because I'm making fun of your name. But it's El Mayo. Like mayonnaise.
I got that, but I feel like it probably means something else in Spanish.
Probably, but like El Mayo. You pass the El Mayo. Because, you know, like, that's what I call mayonnaise. I call it mayo. So, like, instantly all I could imagine was, like, this little jar of mayo.
I need to know what it means.
I'm just gonna... What, you're, like, Googling what mayo means in Spanish? Probably means, like, super...
Oh, it just means the person. May.
The May?
Yeah.
Like, the month, the May?
The May.
The May! All right, cool. Well, that was a little bit disappointing. I just
Story of
I
my
kind
life.
of expected it to be cool. Anyway, but like soup's not relevant because in relation to the avocado business, there are two cartels that are gunning for control. Well, get it, gunning, because they use guns and cartels.
I see what you did there.
Thanks.
I'll toast to that as long as you smash some avo on it.
Mate. Okay, so there's the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, which was founded, don't ask me when, because apparently that's not information that they wanted to give, and is led by, I'm gonna muck this up, Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes. His alias is much easier to pronounce because it's just Amencho.
This is really how you wanted to start out.
Look, my notebook had avocados on it and I was like, this is random as shit. And then like I Googled avocado crimes and I couldn't get over that there was like this much drama to do with avocados. And it was living rent-free in my head, okay? Which is what our show is called.
Yes, that is the whole point of this. You are correct. I'll give
Also,
it to you.
I just feel like not many people are gonna like think of avocados and then think of like cartels and murder.
No, because up until you meant, like, I remembered the whole import-export factor, but up until you said the word cartel, my brain had not even associated that together, like, even though I've literally heard about it before. So
yeah, well, my case happens in 2019, so it's like
it probably isn't
3 years old.
The case that I'm thinking of then.
I don't think it is. But like, oh well, if it is, like,
anyway,
who cares? But anyway, so this kid, El Mencho, is apparently one of the world's most wanted drug lords. So like, go him, being like worldwide badass. I shouldn't call him a badass because he's actually like a really shitty person. Well,
then I suppose he's bad. So
that is very true. So like badass in the bad way, not the good way.
Yeah.
This cartel started as one of the splits of the millennial cartel, and I didn't honestly write down the second name because I just didn't think it was that interesting. But basically they split and the other cartel was like, oh my god, what's this guy's name? El Mencho, you did like some bad shit and you like handed us over to the cops. And El Mencho was like, fuck off, did I? That's so bullshit. And then they had like a little like bitch little fight, and then I'm pretty sure El Mencho won, and I don't think the other cartel is like around anymore. I'm not gonna lie, I read that but didn't write it down because I was running out of time. But anyway, so like the what is that name? Jalisco New Generation Cartel are like soups nasty and horrible humans who do like not great stuff. Like part of their like initial like training of some of their new members and stuff is like cannibalism. Like they like
that.
Eat people. Like I feel like that's like a pretty good way to test if someone's loyal. Like, are you that loyal that you would eat someone? Are you? I just don't think I'm that loyal to anyone. Are you about to say yes? You
no.
Damn.
I would not eat human flesh out of loyalty to another person. That's stupid.
You would just eat it out of shits and giggles. You're like, I want to try some finger tonight.
No, but say the world was ending.
Oh yeah, like for sure, I'd fucking eat someone if the world was ending.
There were no consequences. I'm kind of curious. They call it long pig for a reason. I like pork.
Right, and I fucking love pork. Like, holy shit, it's delicious.
So, like, you know, if
I'm with you,
if I know there's no consequences behind it and the world's gonna end anyway, that's the instance where I would be like, yeah, I'll give it a go. But then I also don't know which part you're supposed to go for. So I've heard not the butt because it's all fat.
No, literally though.
But then you'd assume the butt because that's where bacon comes from.
In a pig.
Anyway,
I wish I could be like someone. Oh right, yeah, avocado.
you were telling me about like
so they like eat people, and they also like really like chopping people up. Dude, that's one of the pictures I have to send you.
Oh,
hold up.
Okay.
Oh god,
I got my phone at the ready.
I accidentally closed Facebook before because apparently I'm dumb. And I also thought that we could use the Zoom chat function, which
That's too
apparently was
difficult.
a terrible decision. No, literally though. So yeah, they really like chopping people up, and like it's just like a thing. Like they were like in the shout out Wikipedia page that I read on this cartel, they were like, they're like super into cutting people up, and I was like, I don't really think that's like something to brag about. Should you be super into killing?
Everyone's got their hobbies.
But would you be proud if you were chopping people up? I think I'd be like low-key impressed with myself if I got it like on like the first slice.
Maybe. I feel like it
would it be a slice?
I don't know. I've never actually chopped a person up. Believe it or not.
So the first weird. The first picture I'm sending you is of a guy who got his hands chopped off because he apparently stole from the cartel, which like, bestie, why would you do that?
But also a common old age punishment,
right?
For theft.
For like, if you like steal something, then your hands get chopped. Like, it makes sense to me, but also I'm like, why? And then
so
the second one is
that's post amputation.
The guy, yeah. So like, and then the second one is like literally like. So I found this is the stuff I was telling you I found on Reddit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
these will not be shared anywhere. Not happening.
If you want to see them, gang, go to reddit.com/r/narco footage. And there's like a lot of nasty shit on that thread.
You know, when referring to a subreddit, you can just say r/. I think people know how Reddit works in this day and age.
That's fair. That was clearly me. But like, dude, I'm actually probably gonna follow this thread because I'm pretty messed up in the head.
That's and so
but also just like some of these, I'm like,
the second one is just an assortment of body parts.
Yeah, I think the caption
like is that. Are they a couple of butts that I see in there?
Right. I thought the same thing. I was like, is that someone's booty? Like, what? Like,
okay, those are definitely like feet chopped off at the knee and calf and shit. Like,
so this one says Zeta's killing. Oh my god, there's 15 images. I only clicked on the first one. But I like legit think that that's someone's butt.
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me as well. Okay, I mean.
But yeah, that's the Zeta's killing site. But I didn't like. I wanted to send it to you because this cartel is like known for cutting up people. Like that was like in the first paragraph about them. Was hey, they like to like dip into some cannibalism, and they also like cutting people up, which like I guess comes hand in hand.
Let's just sever that conversation quickly and move on.
Okay. Okay, so they also do like, oh my god. I'm sorry, another photo just loaded and like, holy shit. It's like a skinned head. Like a skinned head. Like it's the head next to it and then like the skin from like they did like a really good job. Like I'm gonna send you a picture so like you can see what I'm seeing, but like I'm just gonna take a photo of my screen, by the way. I'm too lazy to like save it to my computer,
but okay.
But like okay, like open your phone, like
they
did like a really good job, right? But can we talk about how like good of a job they did?
Leatherface got a new mask.
Right? Like, it's like a perfect, like, that's perfect. Like, this fucker's got some skills. I feel like I'm just gonna leave.
Well, that's gonna be living rent-free in my mind tonight during my sleep paralysis.
Oh my god. So you know why they do that? Is so that they can like put the little like skin masks on like poles.
Fair. As like
a
warning
poles.
kind of thing, yeah.
I would assume so. Now I'm just like imagining my face not attached to me and like, okay. But anyway, so like the other group is the La Familia Michoacan, which basically is just like new family of Michoacan in English. I don't know where the new came from, actually. It probably is just like the family of that place that does all of the avocado stuff. I'm going to stop pronouncing it because I have like a guy's name in here to pronounce and it's not going to go well. Who was founded by Carlos Rosales Mendoza. I like this guy because he has an easy to pronounce name. And it also has a second leader named...
I'm sorry. Not everyone can have a one-syllable color for a last name, okay?
That's fair. I have a very basic white girl name, and I'm most of the time disappointed in it. Fucking Karen, honestly.
Ugh.
But anyway.
What was she thinking?
So, right. The second leader's name is Nazario Moreno Gonzalez. I actually did that a lot better than I expected. Go me. So these kids are also like super bad, but they don't eat people, so yay! For
okay,
them, like,
that's something.
But they're also like super into dismembering people. So I just think that that's like a Mexican cartel thing, is dismembering people. And I'm just really concerned if I ever went to Mexico, like, would I just see like dismembered body parts everywhere? Like, is that the vibe? Because this is the vibe I'm getting from this, like, this Reddit thread and learning about these cartels, is that they're just like, you know what? We should dismember someone today.
I can't say I have that thought often.
No?
No.
Well, now you should.
Some days I wake up and I'm like, today's the day. And then I realize that involves getting up and leaving my apartment and going outside and people. And I'm like, nope, never mind. Yeah. Today's people not the day I dismember a person. Not happening.
I just also like, I feel like the tools that you'd have to buy to dismember someone would be like pretty darn expensive.
You can't just like use your hands and
to dismember someone.
I don't know how it's done. I don't do it.
I mean, like, neither, but a kitchen knife, you would be like fucking soaring for like ages to get through the muscle. And then when you got to the bone, what's your plan then, bestie?
They're the one being dismembered. They would be the one that is sore.
No. 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 Nope. No. Okay. So why am I telling you about these two like groups of soup's bad humans? Because back in 2019, so 3 years ago, is actually in August to be more specific. I don't know the date because I'm not gonna lie to you, I was like too lazy to math it, but I think it was like around the 7th. No, actually, I have no idea, because she's like, the article I read was written on the 10th, and it was like on Thursday, and I'd have to find a calendar, and like, I wasn't that committed. But anyway, so in 2019, the residents of I'm gonna mess this up. I'm so sorry for anyone who lives there. Europan, Mexico, woke up and went to a bridge. I don't think they all like specifically went to a bridge, but 9 bodies were discovered hanging from an overpass.
Okay, so they woke up and they're like, oh, today's the day I'm gonna go to the bridge. Oh no.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Every resident of Europan woke up and they were like, you know what, let's go to this specific overpass. And they found 9 bodies, which were like mostly naked, hanging from the overpass, and then 7 more bodies, which were, some of them were dismembered, some were decapitated. Like there was like an amount, which were like no heads, no arms, no legs, and they were found under a nearby pedestrian bridge. So these peeps were like, you know what, bridges and overpasses, that is the place to put dismembered bodies. And then 3 others were just like vibing in a pile on the side of the road. And then all 19 victims had gunshot wounds. So I'm really hoping, like, it didn't tell me, but I'm hoping that they were like shot before they were dismembered. But it didn't clarify in either of the articles I read about this. Actually, I think I read like 3 or 4, but like none of them really clarified. But everyone was like, oh my god, it's got to be like one of the 2 main bitches that did this. Oh, because there was also like a sign that was like hanging from the bridge that was like, kind people, go on with your routine, be patriotic, and kill a Viagra. Yeah, no, I instantly also thought of the pill Viagra.
Yeah, I'm like,
not that pill. Yeah, no, I did the
that
same. I was like, do you want to kill the people that make like erection pills? Because like that's kind of harsh.
I took it as, you know, how people are like, oh yeah, let's slay this pizza or whatever, as in like eat this pizza, destroy it. And I'm like, oh yeah,
so you thought that they were like, be patriotic,
let's like just kill
and, like,
this Viagra, let's
have...
take it and get it off. Boo. Don't know what this is.
Yes, that is exactly what the super mean cartel people were like. They were like, you know what, friends? Go get an erection. Let's just go and get a reaction. What? An erection.
Okay.
But no, that is not what it is. There's actually a gang called Viagra, which I'm a little bit concerned about. I didn't really like want to Google too much about them because I figured it would just come up with a lot of penis related things, and we're gonna save that for another week, gang. Don't you stress, because this did really make me want to do something to do with Viagra.
Now I'm kind of stressed, but okay.
But it's going to be very entertaining. But anyway, so yeah, cute little sign being like, you know, guys, like, live your dreams, just like go about your routine. So as we like murdered like 19 people, whoopsies. I mean, everyone was like, oh my god, who was it? And then the JNG, which is the first cartel, my bad, they're not a gang, they're a cartel, that I spoke about, the Jealous K new generation, were like, y'all besties, that was us. And they like immediately took credit for it. And like hung that thing, and they were like, you know, we're going to do the same shit to you if you help their rivals. So like, fucking don't. So that was super great. So they reckon it was to do with like a little bit to do with like drug shit, but also the avocado trade. So like, how fucking crazy that 19 people got dismembered, decapitated, and just like in general, like fucked with and murdered over like avocados. Like I was about to say I can understand it over drugs. Like that's still like a really shitty thing to do, but that's kind of
I was about to say the same thing. Like I was like, I mean, right? I get it with drugs, and I'm like, no, I don't actually.
Right? Like I don't get it either, but like if someone was like, oh my god, a Mexican cartel like murdered a bunch of people over drugs, you'd be like, oh, that's shitty, but like, oh. But like someone's like, yo, a Mexican cartel like murdered a bunch of people over avocados, you'd be like, what the fuck? But yeah, so that happened in 2019. And a bunch of people were like, oh, it's obviously just over drugs. And then they were like, oh, actually, this international crisis group researcher who's like previously done like a butt ton of like research and reporting on Mexico. What?
I'm not being, I'm filling my glass, sorry.
No, that's fine. I don't know why that distracted my brain so much. Mexico's cartels suggested that they might also have another motivation for it, which is controlling the, oh my god, every time I need to look at my notes on how to fucking pronounce this word, Michoacan lucrative avocado industry. So like this Falco Ernst told The Guardian, the big magnet here is avocados. So as I said before, like it's 80% of the avocados that are imported to the US. And
that's
then
how you bring in us millennials. Wait, you're not a millennial, shit.
No.
I'm
technically,
that's how you bring in my people.
No, but I'm technically Gen Z, but a lot of people call my
you're a cuspy, yeah.
A what?
A cuspy, the same as like,
oh my
if you're
god,
born on the
called
cusp.
me a crusty. And I was like,
That
Why
too.
am I crusty?
It's the same. It's the same as if you're born on the cusp, like on the cusp of a star sign. You could be a cuspy, so you'd
they're
basically be a
also
cuspy.
calling, I think it's from 1995 to 2000, they're calling us millennials because we don't really fit. Yeah, we don't really fit in with Gen Z, but we don't really fit in with all the millennial stuff either. So we're just kind of like in this awkward stage. But yeah, so anyway, the millennials and zillennials, you bring us in with a fucking avocado, which like mood avocado is so good. I actually really want some avocado now. I should have brought guacamole for
your
my
nachos.
fucking nachos. Oh my god, and sour cream. Oh my god, I'm so stupid. Fucking hate past Kirstyn. She's such a dumb bitch. But anyway, so like in June of 2019, The Guardian reported that as many as 4 avocado transport trucks were stolen every day. So like this is ridiculous. They're like, please like stop stealing our shit. And the cartels were like, lol, get on my level, bitch. So apparently like before they got it like this deep into like, you know, like fucking butchering people to death, they originally were just like, the cartels were just like, their revenue for the avocado trade was just like, hey, farmer boy, you want some protection? Give me some money. But now they're all like, I want to own you and sell the avocados and make them very, very expensive. Which as I said, wait, I don't know if I said it when we were recording or before we started recording, but the only like real update to this I could like
that
see,
was before we started.
Oh, okay. So gang, I don't really have an update, so it's fine. But was an article, it's not really an article actually, it's literally just a fucking conversation between Scott Simon and Vice News correspondent Emily Green about the increased role of Mexican drug cartels in the avocado and lime business as well. Apparently limes are joining in on this. So yay that we can have people murdering each other over fucking vegetables. Wait,
if you think
fruits?
Both are fruits, yes. But like if you think about it, lime is an essential ingredient for guacamole because you put your lime juice, but also
and they're both green.
That too, but also what is a good bowl of nachos without a margarita in hand?
That's a fat mood.
Like you can't
now
have
I just
one.
really feel like going to like El Cantino or something, and
yes,
just like getting
please.
shit faced while eating like burrito. Oh my god, let's do it.
Yes, I need some mugs. Let's go. Just like abandon the recording right now and go. Like no, I still. Yeah,
so guys, we're just gonna we're gonna finish up here. Okay, but anyway, so it's like a conversation about it. But the biggest thing that I took from it, so you know how I originally said that like avocados are like a soup scrape business for the US, between US and Mexico. So apparently this week, which is like literally like the week we're recording this, which is the 23rd of February, the US briefly banned Mexican avocados after a US inspector in the state of Michoacan, look at me not looking at my notes, reported receiving threats. Right, like he was like the cartels, like yeah.
With the threats in the avocados, or
can you just imagine that? Like you know how like in like the old stories of like the brick being thrown through the window with a little note on it being like "fuck you." It's instead it's an avocado, and they're like, "Fucking stop or I'll kill you."
Also, you know how we were questioning before we started how to name these, like whether it should be like how Fall Out Boy and Panic at the Disco names their old songs, where it's just like a long-winded title that has nothing to do with anything, or if it should be like some quote.
Also, I realized that my brain apparently doesn't recognize how to spell avocado after me writing it 50,000 times, because every single time I would go to write AVA, avocado, because that's how I say it, even though it's avocado, like it's an O. But when I would write avo, I'd write avo with an O. And then if I tried to make it the longer version, my brain was like, A. And I was like, no, it's not an A, it's so yeah. Steve's good at spelling.
Good job.
Good job. We're going to make a great teacher.
Oh, nailing it.
They're going to be like, Miss, how do you spell this? And I'm going to be like, well, I don't know. How do you think it's spelled? And then they're gonna be like, I don't know, I'm asking you. And I'm gonna be like, well, I'm asking you. Like, damn, son. And then I'll be like, let's work it out together. This is a teaching moment.
Who's teaching who here?
We're teaching each other.
Okay, you will only get a job in a cult school.
Would I have to join the cult?
Yes, they're not going to let you teach in the school if you don't practice their doctrines. I don't think that's the right words. It's
don't worry, I was about to be like, their vibes.
What does doctrines mean? I'm pretty sure that's right. That sounds right.
It sounds right. Like, it sounds
a belief or set of beliefs held and taught by a church, political party, or other group. AKA cult. There
you go. Literally there. Oh, also I forgot to mention the La Familia Michoacana. My bad, that's supposed to be an A on the end of that. They are also.
Is that the A you kept putting in avocado?
Probably. They also apparently are like super religious, and like the main dude, Nazario would like walk around with a little Bible, being like, I'm a good little human. I just like to murder people. Yay me! I don't know. I've never read the Bible. I don't know what it says in there. Actually, that's a lie. I've read like a couple of things. Maybe that's where they got the idea to dismember people, because of that one Jesus story about, I don't know if you've ever heard it before, but there's a Jesus story, right? I'm pretty sure it's King Solomon, and there's two women, right? And they have this one baby.
Yep.
One woman is like, that's my baby. And the other woman's like, nah, bitch, it's my baby. So King Solomon was like, all right, bet, let's just cut the kid in half.
And the one that was like, no, she can have him. He's like,
is okay, obviously the real mother. Yeah. Which, like, super smart way to figure it out, but also like, damn, King Solomon. Damn.
I reckon he just wanted to cut a baby.
Probably.
I didn't think.
Do you think it would be easier than cutting like a proper human, because like they haven't developed as much?
If someone had asked me a few weeks ago when we had started talking about starting a podcast, if I thought in our first episode we would have discussed the logistics of eating human flesh and dismembering a baby, I would have been like, no, those are way too taboo topics to cover the first go round. But
really? This is kind of what I expected.
I mean, I'm also not that surprised, because like I like made a new friend the other night, and within the first hour of meeting this person in like a group setting, I had brought up my go-to plan for if I ever have to hide a body, and B, or get rid of a body, and B, my feelings about eating human flesh. So I'm probably not a great standard to be based off.
Had a discussion with a 6-year-old on Sunday about murdering someone. That sounds really bad now when I say it out loud. Like, okay,
yes. My face should show that.
Okay, he technically brought it up because I think he said something about killing someone at his house, and I was like, Bestie, that's like the worst move ever. Like, don't kill someone at your own house, because like the cleanup will be like hectic as fuck. Because also, like, if you know the person, like, they're gonna look at your house. Like, girl, that is a terrible decision.
6-year-old tips for murder?
I don't want him to get arrested. It would make his mom really sad.
He's a minor. He wouldn't get arrested anyway. But also, don't give him tips.
He would for sure still get arrested. They would just like put him in like, I don't know, the bad place for children. It's like a bad place for children, right? Juvenile.
School?
No, it wouldn't be juvenile. Law school. No, but like, what is the age limit in a juvenile prison?
I don't think they put 6-year-olds in there.
Okay, but like, surely someone super young has been convicted of a crime before. Like those two, like, I don't know, fucking 12-year-olds that like raped
the Slender Man case. Oh, okay, we're talking about two different things.
No.
Well, you'll have to look into that. But also, being the true crime person,
I could literally do that.
Probably smart for you to find out what the youngest person convicted and sent to person is and maybe cover that someday. But also look into this, if you don't already know about it, look into the Slender Man stabbings.
You know, the friends that stab together stay together.
That's my understanding. Anyway, we've gone way off topic. Is there still more to your
but
case?
Like that, no, that was like pretty much like all I really wanted to say was like these organized crime groups use avocados and limes as a source of profit, and like because
they
of
send
that,
threats in the avocados.
Yeah, of course. Like, you know where the seed usually goes? That's where the threat is. Yeah. But yeah, no, that was like basically it. But like, I just thought that was like so ridiculously crazy, and like,
who would have seen that coming?
Mate, that was fucking terrible.
You had to know what to expect starting this with me, like.
No, I know. I was super excited about it.
Alrighty.
This is the highlight of my week. And I'm really, really excited to hear about yours, but also I'm going to be sad because there's not going to be an update.
So you were not kidding when you said that your case was random. When you said that, I was like, because you said that a couple of weeks ago when we were initially, and didn't you say that you'd done notes for a different case and then decided over the weekend to change it and do this?
And then I went back to the avocados just because I thought it was like so funny and random, and like I felt like the beginning of my avocado book was going to be about it, and it was the beginning of our podcast, so I felt the need to stay on it.
So I kind of did a thing. So when we started talking about this, I had a very clear plan of what my first two cases would be.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Yeah, I specifically, right off the bat, I was like, okay, it's going to be this and this. And the first one was the one that triggered my interest and fascination in unsolved mysteries. And the second is the one that triggered my need to share that with someone else and just purge it and tell the story and have someone else discuss it with me.
And just be like, this shit is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Which is like the avocado assassinations.
I sat down and I spent a week doing notes for what I wanted to do as my first case. I'm like, yeah, this is great. I've got it done. I did a run through with a friend to confirm that like it worked because it was my first time doing that. And then I was like,
I
cool.
did not.
Yeah, it showed.
Wow.
I'm kidding, but like,
he's not kidding.
I'm not kidding. And then I started working on the notes for my second case just so that they were ready and I had them. And then over this weekend, after we'd decided we were recording today, I decided, hey, I'm really busy all weekend, but you know what? That case I've already done the notes for. I don't want to do that case yet. I want to have a bit more time with it. I want to do the other case that I've done like a quarter of the notes for. So may not have been sitting and doing my notes right as we started recording an hour late, but did have to scramble to get them done, ready to go.
Okay. You know,
but I finished them last night.
Still very interesting.
It was.
Please excuse my rambling. I'm trying to find a pencil. Like I thought I had one next to me.
Oh.
But I only have colored pencils and I want like a normal pencil.
That's fair. I don't know
so
how
I can
to help
do some
with
drawing to like de-stress my brain while you're talking. Because all I'm going to be like is, I don't know what happens. I don't know what happens. Well, and it's going to be like that afterwards as well.
I am going to be nice, and with all of my cases, I'm going to tell you in advance what kind of case it is, what kind of mystery. So you will at least have some context and preparation. With this one, it's not going to help very much. And you will find out why. So yeah, I scrambled and I got these together, but I'm pretty happy with how it came together. I will preface this, which I feel like I don't need to after hearing Kirstyn speak. I'm not a journalist or a researcher. I have a full-time job. This is just me, this is just me telling the story as I've found it.
saying
just
like telling it how our brains perceive it.
yeah. I've
Update. I found a pencil.
researched my stuff, but I can't spend like ages finding quotes and everything. I'm doing my best. So this is our
The quote I
birth. Be
used
nice
is
to me.
literally because I had like the article open on my computer screen.
I first heard this case last year while I was working overnights. So it would have been about September last year that I heard it. And I heard that on And That's Why We Drink. I'm pretty sure Kirstyn covered it in like 2020 because I was binging that podcast when I was working the overnights. And when she covered it, she referred to an episode of Crime Junkie, which is where she'd heard about it.
This is so romantic. It's like a little like tier of podcasts.
Yeah. So like as soon as it reached the end of that episode, I was like, okay, I need to hear this Crime Junkie episode. Like I need more information. So I listened to both versions back to back. Apparently there is also an episode of Disappeared on the Discovery Network of this case. I can't find a way to watch that in Australia, so I'm really mad because I wanted to, but that's fine. So what I have is basically what I've been able to piece together from other podcasts and from just what I've read on the internet. However, it all seems to add up and track, and I'll do my best to tell the tale as well as I can.
I will appreciate you every way.
Good, because I deserve to be appreciated.
You
So,
do.
this is a missing persons case.
Aww.
And it's interesting.
Oh.
There's a reason that this was in my top 2. I have to get these out straight away. People need to know about this. And this was the one where I'm like, I need to tell someone as soon as I heard it. And that's what kind of sparked, hey, I should talk about unsolved mysteries with people. I should start a podcast.
What is a crackhead that I know that will also want to start a podcast?
This is the missing persons case of Bryce Laspisa.
Laspisa.
A fellow redhead.
Yay!
Oh
wait, no, he's going missing. No.
So, born on the 30th of April in 1994 to Karen and Michael Laspisa in...
He's 2 years older than me.
Wow, I didn't even start that sentence well. He was born on April 30th in 1994 to Karen and Michael Laspisa in Springfield, Illinois. So 1994, he'd be a year younger than me, so he would be turning 28 this year.
Yes, he's 2 years older than me.
Yeah. He would be, I don't even know what star sign that would be.
What is it? April
30th.
Taurus? I'm pretty sure that's the one before me, and I'm at the end of May.
I think Taurus, yeah. No, it's fine. It's not important. I mean, it could
I feel like it's important now that we've mentioned it.
Anyway, in 2012, he graduated high school just outside of Chicago, and his newly retired parents decided it was time to move with their sights set on California.
Wait,
yes.
Pause. He's 2 years older than me, but he only graduated a year before.
No,
me.
I had that same dilemma because I was like, hang on, what the fuck? He graduated in 2012, but he's a year younger than me.
No, I graduated in
American
2013.
school years are different to our school years.
So
right,
I forgot that this was
US. They do August through June. Whereas
that's
we,
right, because they don't have school holidays at the beginning because they for some fucking reason were like, you know what, let's start the new year.
So we do
school in the middle of the year.
We do school from February to December, whereas they do August through June. I'm pretty sure they finish at the start of June for summer.
Fucking weird. Also, I was right. It's a Taurus.
Okay. I think they're not the only country that does that, though. I think.
Yeah, but I feel like our schooling system makes sense because, like, the start of the year is the start of your school year. Like,
yeah, but they've matched it up with the seasons because, you know, if they had their 6 to 8 week break like we do at the end of the year. They're doing that in snow. They can't do anything. It does make sense for the Northern
toboggan.
Hemisphere.
You can go tobogganing.
Toboggan, no. Anyway, so yeah, I had that same confusion, and then I was like, how the fuck? Oh, hang on, no, yeah. So it does track because it would have been like June-ish, May or June that he graduated.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That just like confused the crap out of me because I was like, oh yeah, and then I was like,
it wasn't until I
what?
got a bit further in my notes that it clicked, and I was like, oh, hang on, okay, yep, no, that makes sense.
Right, so we're moving to California.
Yes, so his parents bought a house in Laguna Niguel in Orange County, California, with Bryce, and they moved there with Bryce in tow. However, not long after this initial move, Bryce moved separately to Rocklin, which is a 7.5 hour drive, 460 miles or 740 kilometers to those of us who don't speak miles.
Oh, thank you. When you said miles, I was like, what?
You'll see that a lot through my notes because obviously with American cases, I look all of these things up and it gives it to me in miles. So I keep it in miles, but I also have
put it in kilometers.
Yeah, for me as well, because I was like, that means nothing.
But wait, is Rocklin still in California?
It's still in California.
Okay.
So
they're the same state, but just different suburbs.
Think of California like Queensland. Like,
okay.
It's not a small place. Yeah. So he's moved 7 to 7.5 hours drive from them. 740 kilometers north. Some reports did say that he moved to Chico, but that doesn't add up. Chico does come into it a bit later. That is another place. I don't think that he did move there because he specifically moved to Rocklin to go to a school.
Oh, okay.
Which is in Rocklin. But I think some places think that he moved to Chico because Chico plays a big part in this story a bit later on.
Oh, okay. Also, it just started like pouring down rain where I am.
Oh, I can't hear it. So.
Oh, okay, that's good then. Cool. That's what I wanted to check. I was like, that's
yeah. I was wondering what the weird eyes were.
Yeah, it was me being like, oh God.
Anyway, so he moved to Rocklin so that he could begin college. He was starting is freshman the first year in America? I think freshman. That
yes. Isn't it like freshman, junior, sophomore, senior?
Isn't it freshman? I think it's freshman, sophomore, junior, senior.
That could also make more sense.
Yeah, I think it's that way.
I know, American schools confuse me.
I just know like first
Americans
through
are weird.
12. You're not wrong. But he was beginning his freshman year of graphic and industrial design at Sierra College, which was a community college in Rocklin. Sorry, I just had a random guess.
Was there like no community colleges in Laguna
Niguel? Well,
or did he just like that was the one he wanted, so he was like, I'm gonna go to that one, which like
possibly. So when I first saw it, I was like, when I first saw that they'd moved to California and then he shortly after started school in California, I was like, oh, did they move so he could go to school? But it's a community college, so that doesn't really track. And it's like nearly 8 hours away. So if they were moving there for that reason, surely they'd move closer. So I think he just moved there with his parents and then went, this is what I want to study. Where offers that? Found this school
this is the best place.
Found a school he could get into. And hey, I'm 18 and I can get a bit of distance from my parents if I go there. That'll work. Like,
fair.
That makes sense. So by all reports, he was a normal college lad. He was charming, cheerful, and friendly. Being an only child, he had a close-knit relationship with his parents. From what I can see, he was very sporty. It looks like he played both baseball and football in high school. And given his choice of major, he's clearly an artsy guy as well.
Yeah.
So his first year at college went smoothly. He got good grades. He developed a close friendship with his roommate, Sean Dixon, and he began dating Kim Sly.
John's relative.
It must be.
Who did he start dating? Kim.
He began dating Kim Sly. That's her name. He wasn't dating her on the sly.
Okay, yeah, I was like, what?
Yeah. It wasn't like a sly little hookup. It was public relationship. Like.
Oh, well, that's good, you know.
Anyway, so after his first year at college, he returned for his second year 2 weeks before classes resumed. And after the summer break, he seemed fresh and eager. This matched up with how he had been over summer. He had told all of his friends, his parents, and his girlfriend that he was eager to get back to school. On Monday, the 26th of August in 2013, the fall semester commenced. So yeah, that must be when school starts over there. Yeah. But their fall semester commenced on that day. He attended classes. I think he attended 2. And after, not that he skipped them, I think he just had to. I don't know.
Yeah.
There were mention of 2 classes.
Well, if it was like your first week back, then you might not necessarily have like that, I don't know, hectic with a schedule.
He attended classes and he called his mother Karen afterwards just to tell her about them and how much he had enjoyed them.
That's so fucking cute.
Like I said, he had a really close-knit relationship with his parents. Karen describes the call as just normal conversation. Everything seemed to be as it should be. He was himself. However,
like there was nothing to be concerned about.
No. However, to everyone else, the people who had been around him for the past 2 weeks and seeing him on a regular basis, this was not the case. Over the past 2 weeks, he had seemed to be unraveling and changing. So both his girlfriend, Kim, and his roommate, Sean, I almost got those 2 mixed up. That was going to be... Anyway, both his girlfriend, Kim, and his roommate, Sean, observed subtle changes in his behavior and temperament. They say that over the 2 weeks, he became more withdrawn, erratic, and depressed, which I'm pretty sure those 3 words have been used to describe me many a time.
Fat mood. Fat fucking mood.
So, you know, feel that. Sean also reported that he had taken to drinking a lot of hard liquor. Now, keep in mind, this is a 19-year-old in college, so that's relative. But if he's saying that it's a lot of hard liquor, then it must be a lot.
A lot. But also, like, isn't that like typical American like drink beer? Like that's a light. That's a light liquor.
Yeah, hard liquor. We're talking spirits, like
spirits. Yeah, like spirits, like whiskeys. Vodka,
we're talking your whiskeys, your
tequila,
vodkas, all of
scotches.
Those. And Sean went as far as to say that he was drinking daily, which, I mean,
like we've all been there, but like bestie, but maybe don't do like hard liquor.
He was drinking daily and as much as 2/5 to himself in a weekend. Now, before you question what that is, I have an answer. We don't have...
cool, so I was going to be like 2/5 of a bottle? Because like that's not that much.
Well, so Americans often refer to like quarts and fifths, and I was going to say pints, but we have pints here too if you go to the pub and order a beer. Yeah. So I Googled what a fifth is. And there's the raid. I Googled what a fifth is, and it is 750 mils.
Oh, so what's that? 1,500 mils?
Yeah, so your standard bottle here of vodka or any other alcohol,
it's like 750.
That's a 750 bottle. Maybe a 700.
So
he's drinking 2 of those in a weekend. So he's drinking 1.5 liters of hard liquor in a weekend. That's 2 days. My liver is, I know I'm 28, but my liver is aching at the thought of that.
Okay, but that's like really sad because I'm like, my instant thought was like, oh, 2 bottles? That's not that much.
2 bottles in 2 days, though.
No, I know. That's my brain is still like, oh, okay. Yeah, look.
I don't know. See, I tend to stick to wine anyway. So I mean, I could.
No, I know that's what I mean. Like, you're more of a wine drinker. So
I could
like,
put away 2 bottles of wine in one night and not question
easily.
it.
Fucking anyone could.
Yeah.
But like, you don't drink like the spirits as much. But like, I'm more of a spirits drinker, so that's probably why I'm like, oh, okay, like 2 bottles. That's like, I mean, if you go out on the Friday night and you go out on the Saturday night.
But if that's like your regular, that's still
okay. Yeah, like your regular weekend, then that's probably like, damn. Son.
If you were to do that on like a weekend once in a blue moon, yeah, sure, that's fair. But if you're doing that, if you're doing that every weekend plus drinking daily during the week on top of that,
I forgot that he was drinking during the week as well. So fuck me. When was this kid not drinking? Yeah.
So in those 2 weeks, he was just going hard.
Oh.
And that's not the half of it. So
is he doing drugs as well?
Both Kim and Sean report that he had also been taking Vyvanse, also known as lisdexamfetamine, which is an ADHD medication. He had not been diagnosed with ADHD, nor had he been prescribed this medication, so he was taking it recreationally. He had admitted to Kim that he had been taking it as a means to stay up all night to play video games. Now,
where are your priorities at? You could have at least been doing it to study.
You can stay up all night to play video games without taking performance-enhancing drugs. Like, that's not even the right word. That's
pops and V's. Pops and V's.
You don't even fucking need V. I mean, V for Vyvanse? Shit. You don't even need an energy drink. You can just don't sleep. Damn, dude, get good.
Yeah, but if he's drinking a lot of alcohol's a downer. So he probably was tired on top of that. So that's why he needed the Vyvanse.
Vyvanse, yeah. Unless you want to call it lisdexamfetamine.
Why do you need
just
drugs
do that
to
anyway?
Video game outlet? No, like, what do we do?
If anything, I need something to stop me so that I can go to sleep and go to work the next day.
Because I'll be like, oh, I'll just finish this mission and then I'll go to bed.
Literally,
and then I'll find like a side mission.
Yep.
Or like the mission will take me forever.
Me last night, it kept me. I'm sitting there. I'm like, okay, I have to get up early because I have to catch the train to work tomorrow. And I'm like, okay, but this is the last one. So I finally went to bed at like 1:45 midnight. I'm like, I have to be up at 5 a.m. All right. So Vyvanse has severe side effects, especially if it's taken recreationally. And these include psychosis, depression, and amnesia.
So like a super fun combination.
Yeah. Keep in mind, he's also abusing alcohol. So
This kid is not making good life choices.
I mean, so I did Google just to see the effects of mixing alcohol with this drug. And from what I read, you shouldn't be doing that at all, let alone not in the amount that he is, because he's heavily drinking. So mixing Vyvanse and alcohol increases the chances of risk-taking behavior, psychosis again, and also the potential for addiction. I got some differing answers here because some reports said that he only took it on one night to play that game, but other sources that I read said that his use became more and more frequent during those 2 weeks. That seems more accurate from what I've read.
Well, I feel like with any drug, like,
yeah,
you're not going to be like one and done.
All right. So this next part, I also have some slight differing information in regards to. Some tellings have implied that all of these events occurred on the same day as, I don't want to call it the main event, but it kind of is.
So like,
I don't want to, there is an easier way for me to refer to it without being vague, but then that actually kind of gives away a lot of information very early. So I'm just going to call it the main event. Mm-hmm. It sounds bad. It's not like a movie or anything, but it is kind of the main, it's the major plot point of the story. So some imply these events occurred on the same day as the main event, but they also say it was a Tuesday that these occurred, and the main event began on the 28th of August, which was the Wednesday. So it is my understanding that these occurred across 2 different days. I may be incorrect there, but I'm doing what I can with the information that I have. It's what I'm going to stick with, and that's how I'm going to tell it. So
I trust you.
that's fine. Either way, you're still going to get what happened. So on Tuesday, the 27th of August, the day after classes started, his behavior began to become even more strange. He started to give away his possessions, including his Xbox and a pair of diamond earrings his mother gave him. And then also that same day, during a text exchange with Kim, I believe it was about the use of Vyvanse and the abuse of alcohol, because she seemed very concerned and he actually seemed a bit annoyed and hindered at the fact that she was asking questions and had a problem.
About me,
right, yeah, fucking rude.
Bitch.
But eventually he just sent her a message saying that she was better off without him. She was confused and questioned him as to whether or not if he was breaking up with her, and he clarified that yes, he was, which took her by surprise. He also that same day sent Sean a text that was oddly sentimental. It said, "I love you, bro. Seriously. You are the best person I've ever met. You saved my soul." From what I've read, that was not normal behavior for him. It was a bit odd.
Well, when you first said it to me, I was like, oh, suicide goodbye.
I mean, potentially, yeah.
That was my first thought.
Yeah. But he's also like still home at this point.
Yeah, but like he's breaking up with Kim.
This is his roommate that he lives with, and they're like in the same they're either in the same apartment at the time that the message sent, or at least at some point later that day, because I'm pretty sure it was like 2 p.m. that message was sent. And shit doesn't kick off until tomorrow. So.
Maybe he was getting his affairs in order.
Maybe. Maybe he just had like an odd moment like I do every now and then where I'm like, hey, this person just really needs to know that I care about them right now.
Yeah.
And then it's followed with, I'm sorry if I'm being annoying.
Sorry, I love you.
Don't at me, Reese. Okay, so the following day, the Wednesday, August 28th. So this day I know is accurate onwards, like well, as accurate as it can be onwards, because these are the days that are documented as this all happens. So at some point during that day, Bryce's mother, Karen, actually receives a call from Sean, and he's calling her to express his concern for her son and his behavior, which it has to be pretty extreme if his roommate is calling his mother. I can't think of any instance where any of my friends would be like, yeah, Jeramie, you're a grown-ass man, but I'm going to call your mom and be like, I'm worried.
Hey, girl. Some
like,
shit is going down.
It would have to be extreme.
Like something intense.
Yeah. Severe fear for my safety or that of someone else. Hey, this is scary. I don't know what to do. So she receives that phone call and she's very surprised by that because as far as she's concerned, everything's been normal.
Yeah.
And then at 11 p.m. that same night, she receives another call, this time from Bryce. Some reports said it was from Kim, some said from Bryce. Most of what I read said it was from Bryce, and that seems to track more with my understanding of it. I may be wrong, but yeah. It was from either Kim or Bryce, but the phone call came from Kim's place, which is in Chico, the place I mentioned earlier, which is about an hour and a half to 2 hours north of his place in Rockland. So he had driven there that night. And it's actually unclear why he drove there that night, as Kim reports that he was... Yeah, and Kim reports that he was still adamant on the breakup. And that he also refused to provide any context or explanations for his seemingly rash decision. He just had decided.
Just rocked up. Hey, bestie, still want to break up with you, but.
So Kim was concerned because he seemed erratic and she took his keys. She didn't feel like he was in any condition to drive. She took his keys and refused to give them back to him, and actually asked him to at least please just take a nap before he drives home, which he refused. And this is where my understanding is that it was him that called Karen, because reports say that he asked her for his keys back. She said no. He said, if you don't give them back, I'm calling my mother, which, what a weird threat.
Oh my God, what a mama's boy thing to do.
So either way, one way or the other, either Kim called Karen or Bryce called Karen because of this, and Karen spoke to both of them. So at this point, it doesn't really matter who called her. But when she spoke to Bryce, he informed her of the argument and said that Kim was just mad that he'd broken up with her and that he just wanted to go home. She spoke to Kim, and Kim expressed her concerns that he seemed erratic, that his behavior was strange. Karen got back on the phone with Bryce, and given that this was the second concerning phone call she'd had in one day in regards to his behavior, she told him she was going to fly north the very next morning to come and check on him. Something seemed off, so she was going to come up and see him. It would have been a short flight because it's only a 7.5 hour drive. So.
Oh yes, it's like a couple of hours.
Yeah, just a short flight. Bryce told her not to make any such plans as of yet. He wanted her to wait until he had spoken to her the next morning or the next day. I've lost my page. There it is. Until he had spoken to her the next day, and that he wanted to collect his thoughts before seeing her. He said, I have a lot to talk to you about. She pressed him for more information, which he refused to give. She eventually asked Kim to return his keys to him because he sounded fine to drive. He wasn't slurring, he sounded coherent.
Yeah, but just because he might have physically been fine to drive, was he mentally fine to drive?
Well, she made the call and asked Kim to give him back his keys, which she did. And she told him to drive home and that they would talk in the morning. He left Kim's place in Chico at about 11:30. On PM. Because he rang her at 11 p.m. on the Wednesday night. Yes. Okay. So on Thursday, August 29th, Karen had a missed call from Bryce at about 1 a.m. Given that Chico is about a 1.5 to 2 hour drive from his apartment in Rockland, she assumed that this was him calling to say he got home safe and that she missed it. It sounds like there was no voicemail to go with it. Like I said, you're going to keep thinking that you know what's coming in this story, and you won't. Nothing but questions. This is speculation. This is speculation station. We're not going to get answers.
Yay! I'm so excited to be thinking about this kid. I keep referring to him as a kid because, like, in my brain, he's 19. Yeah, because that's when you're telling me it, but like realistically he's 2 years older than me. Yep,
but I'm in the same boat. So yeah, she had the missed call from him at 1 a.m. and she assumed that this was him calling to say that he got home safe. At 11 a.m., Karen and Michael received a voicemail message that notified them from their insurance that notified them that a request for roadside assistance had been made and fulfilled on one of their vehicles earlier that day. After hearing this, Karen tried to call Bryce, but he didn't answer. So she then rang Sean to ask if he was still asleep and confirm he had made it home okay, which is when Sean informed her he had never come home that night. Concerned, they checked their credit card statement as Bryce had a credit card under their account. And they found a transaction for a roadside service station in a small town called Buttonwillow, which, what a cute fucking name.
Oh my god, what?
Yeah, Buttonwillow.
That's so fucking precious.
Yes.
Where do you live? Oh, I live in Buttonwillow.
It is over 350 miles or 563 kilometers south of Kim's apartment. South of Kim's apartment.
So wait, is Rocklands north?
So it goes
East?
It goes Chico for Kim, and then Rockland slightly south, and then Laguna Niguel is down here.
Okay. And where's the roadside place?
Buttonwillow's kind of here. So it's in between. So it is
kind of like he was driving to his parents.
It's 2/3 of the way home to Laguna Niguel. Yeah. Which was my next sentence.
Oh. Sorry.
So thanks for that.
I just wanted to be clear. I
just love how great I visualized that with my random hand shapes of it's
no, but it made sense to me. So
yeah.
Fair.
So yeah, it was about 2/3 of the way between Kim's apartment and Laguna Niguel, where his parents lived. So he had said the night before on the phone that he just wanted to come home and that he had a lot to talk to them about, and that he would talk to them the next day. And he had told her not to fly out there, so she just assumed, he must be on his way to visit us. He must be on his way home here instead of his apartment.
I don't want to judge the mum, but I feel like she's making a lot of assumptions.
His parents have received a lot of criticism for the way that they handled the day that follows.
I mean, look, I'm not gonna lie, I'm slightly concerned already by how the mum is handling it, because she's had two people that are super close to her son be like, hey, look, lady, there's shit going fucking down in your kid's life. Fucking something is happening. I'm so worried that I'm talking to you about it. And she's all like, seems alright. I'm he tried calling me. He must just be going home. It would have been easy enough for her to just text Sean and be like, hey, shit went down at Kim's last night. Did he make it home?
Yeah. And so, yeah, there's more to follow, that they have actually received, from what I've heard, quite a bit of criticism for the way that they've handled it. And I do have some of that myself, but also I do understand.
You don't know what you would do in that situation.
Yeah.
So you can't judge too much, but at the same time, you're kind of
I am a very big advocate for not overstepping into other people's lives, and your role as a supporting member in their life is
to support.
To support or call them out on their shit, but you can't make their decisions for them. You can't guide their hand. I don't know.
But I feel like that wouldn't be making any decisions for them. It would just be
there are parts that I very much disagree with, and I feel like I would have made a very different call. But I'm also not a parent of a grown man, and he's 19, but that's still a grown man. He's out of home.
But also that's still really young, because he's only just moved out of home.
Yes. But I don't know. I don't know where I stand on it. I see both sides, but I mean, some of the actions they've taken have been correct. They've been very smart to check the credit card statement. They've made sure that they have connection to that.
That makes sense. That was a cool decision, but at the same time, I'm just telling Kim to give him back his keys.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, but if you're at that point where you're drinking heavily every day and you're drinking 2 bottles of spirits per weekend, you've probably figured out how to fucking act like a normal human being, even when you're fucking shit-faced.
I don't know if Sean I don't know if when Sean rang to fill them in on his concern,
was
I don't
drinking?
know if he fully elaborated the extent of his drinking or not. I have read and heard that during the summer break, when he was with his parents, they didn't notice any drinking, but they were aware that he, was a teenager and had gone to parties. So it was quite likely he'd had some drinks and smoked some weed, but
by the sounds of it, it all started when he went back to college.
that kind of heavy drinking, you just don't start off the bat, though. I mean,
possibly, but at the same time, like if you get to a certain point where everything's just kind of building up, you want to numb it. I mean, alcohol's an option, and if you try it one day and you drink for the whole day and then you're like, fuck, this actually kind of works, you want to keep doing it.
But to then pair that with a stimulant, that's the exact opposite of what you want, because the alcohol's going to numb you and make everything go away, but the stimulant is going to bring it, like the stimulant's going to wake you up, it's going to send your brain back into overdrive. It's like,
unless he was worried about people finding out, and then maybe that was why,
possibly. However,
like, I suppose if you mix,
we still have a lot to go. I'm only kind of like at the bottom of page 2.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna shut up then.
So, like I said, there's. So, yeah, he did say that he was coming home, and they've just kind of assumed, oh, maybe he's on his way. But they haven't just straight up gone, okay, that's it, and ignored it. Like, you've kind of jumped to that conclusion. But that's fine. You did, but that's fine. We aired out some things early on that are going to come up anyway later, so it's fine. So I've looked it up, and from what I've seen and from what I've heard, Buttonwillow is basically just a tiny little town situated on the I-5, which is one of their like freeways, highways, basically.
It's an interstate.
Yeah, the Interstate 5, basically like our gateway and all of. I don't drive, so I don't know these things. I just sit in the car.
I understand.
Yeah, I just sit in the car and I'm like, oh, that's pretty.
It's probably like Cunningham Way. Like that's like a massive highway that runs from Queensland down to New South Wales.
Yeah, so this is one that's like running a massive strip through California. So yeah, it's basically a tiny little town that the I-5 happens to run through with it's got a couple of, like, it's got a rest stop, somewhere to stop and get food, stuff like that. Aside from that, it's nothing. Like, according to maps, it looks like a pit stop town. It looks, it's a pit stop town. You stop there unless you know someone there. It looks like there's a couple of farms there. Other than that, it's a tiny little place. There's no real reason for him to have been there other than for needing roadside assistance. So
is that's the place that he got roadside assistance, or is that the place where he stopped to get fuel and his snack?
That is the place where the transaction was made for roadside assistance. So they look up where the transaction was made, and it traces back to Castro Tire and Gas. So they call that place and they speak to the owner, a man named Kirstyn. He confirmed that at about 9 a.m., maybe 9:30, he had taken 3 gallons of gas out to Bryce as he had run out of fuel. Not long after, they receive a call back from Kirstyn because he had driven out to the spot from earlier that day, just in case. He wasn't expecting to find anything, but he'd received a concerned call from parents and wanted to suss it out. So
what a good Kirstyn.
Kirstyn comes back and he is just like, he's the goodest egg.
Yeah.
He's the hero of this story that has no
his commitment to just driving out there because he's like, oh, these parents have called me concerned, I should just like go have a geese.
Yeah. So he does. He doesn't expect to see anything, but he gets out there and he calls them back because he arrives at that spot and finds Bryce's car still sitting there, unmoved.
Did he put the fuel in?
Yeah, he gave Bryce the fuel. They put the fuel in. He left. That was at about 9:30, and it is now about 12 noon that he's here, and Bryce's car is still there in the same spot.
Okay.
And Bryce is still sitting in the front seat.
Like
Yep.
alive?
I said it's a missing person, not a how did this person die case.
Okay, but like, I'm sorry, I wasn't expecting him to just be fucking sitting there 3 hours later.
I told you, you're gonna think that you know what's going on. That's why I kept pausing. I'm waiting for you to be like, where was Bryce? I'm like, she's not gonna ask shit. I'm gonna have to tell her.
No, literally, like my next question was gonna be, was Bryce still there? Or was there any trace of Bryce?
Yeah, so that's why I said you're gonna think that you know what's happening in this case, but every time you don't.
Every time I'm like, oh yes, this must be where he gets abducted.
It's like watching Scream when you're like, that person's the killer, and then they die.
Right,
and,
and then they die, and
it's
you're
not
like,
them. Oh, it's that
it's
person,
a
and
new
then they
person.
die, and you're like, okay, so it's not them. All right, so Kirstyn went to the spot. He found the car. It was still there. Bryce still sitting in the front seat, unmoved. He did comment that his eyes were a bit red. However, that's not that surprising because
That
at
could
this
be
point,
from
we
driving.
don't know when he last slept.
True.
It's 12 o'clock noon, and we know that he left Kim's place at 11:30 p.m. and that he rang at 11 from her place, and that her place is at most a 2-hour drive from his, so he would have left his at 9 at the latest. So we're already looking at 9 hours awake minimum that we know
Also,
of.
he didn't sleep
for
the
a
night
fact.
before either.
Yeah. So he made the phone call and he handed the phone to Bryce, and Karen asked Bryce what he was doing, and he simply replied with nothing. And she asked more questions, and he didn't have an answer as to what was happening. He was evasive and vague, but he was also coherent, and he did not exhibit any clear signs of intoxication in his speech or in his appearance to Kirstyn. So she decided that the questioning could wait, seeing as he was only 2 to 3 hours away from home, and told him to fuel up, get back on the I-5, and continue home. He agreed, returned Kirstyn's phone to him, and started to fuel up. That was at 12, so he was due home at 3 p.m. at the latest. So 3 p.m. comes and he wasn't home, but that's fine. Traffic happens, right? Then 3:30 comes and they start to get concerned because even traffic probably couldn't be that bad. And then 4,
like it's an interstate.
And then 5, and still no sign of Bryce. So they tried calling him and they couldn't make contact. He didn't answer. So they grew more and more concerned that he had perhaps been in an accident. A valid concern. So at about 6 p.m., they contact the police and they declare him missing. And the first thing that the police do is contact his cell provider, and they ping his phone, and they were able to determine where he was.
Or where his phone was.
Well, yes. They were able to determine where his phone was. So it's been 6 hours since they spoke to him, and he was a 2 to 3 hour drive away from them.
I'm gonna be the bitch here and just be like, I feel like it might have been smarter for her to drive to him. Considering Bestie was just sitting in his car for 3 hours
So what's your guess?
doing nothing? What's my guess?
Where do you think he is?
Has he been abducted yet? I would assume so.
Do
Or he's fucking still sitting there.
do you think he's closer to home, that he's further to home, that he's...
Okay, 2 guesses. He is either in the exact same spot or he's gone back to Kim's or tried to go back to Kim's.
All right. His phone is pinged back to a small town off the I-5 called Buttonwillow.
Yes!
So deputies went out to the spot that his phone was pinged and they found his car. 8 miles or 13 kilometers down the road from where he had last been seen about 6 or 7 hours prior. Again, he was just sitting in the front seat.
Oh my fucking God. Who is letting this fucker continue on that he gets kidnapped or goes missing? Like, fuck me dead people. If this kid is spending hours just fucking sitting there in his car, something's up.
So from 9 a.m. when he needed fuel to what is now about 7 p.m.
Ew, that's like fucking...
He's moved 8 miles.
That's 10 hours.
13 kilometers.
In 10 hours.
Yeah. Well, 12. He left at 12.
No, you said 9 to 7.
Yeah. But at 12, he was still sitting in the same spot he was in
so
at
5
9
hours.
So in 6 to 7 hours, he's moved 13 kilometers. So the deputies went and spoke to him and they described him as lucid, polite, and cooperative. He showed no signs of intoxication at all. And when questioned as to what he was doing, he said he was just trying to blow off some steam, which given he was a 19-year-old, they were like, yeah, that kind of tracks. So they did perform a roadside sobriety check, which he passed. He also turned to them and said, look, if you want to check my vehicle, go for it. And they did. They found no alcohol, no drugs, no paraphernalia, no weapons, nothing of concern. Everything was fine. So given that he is not a minor, he has not convicted a crime, and he has given them no clear evidence as to why they should, they didn't see any reason to detain him, and they saw fit to send him on his way. However, they did mention beforehand, before letting him go, that his mother was really concerned about him and that he should probably give her a call. And they were surprised when he seemed very hesitant to do so, very reluctant. He didn't want to. He just kind of was like, nah, I'll pass. He was so hesitant and reluctant, in fact, that they actually had to take his phone and dial for him and make the phone call.
Oh, but sure, let's send him on his way. This is a soup's normal situation.
So they spoke to Karen and they said, look, we've found him. He's passed a sobriety check. We've found nothing in his car. Everything seems as it should be. He seems fine. And this reassured her some that he seemed safe to drive. And they handed the phone back to him and she asked what he was doing. And again, he answered matter-of-factly, oh, I'm just putting...
steam, Mom.
No, he just answered matter-of-factly, oh, I'm just putting some stuff back in my car after they searched it. That again, very literally.
I don't think that's quite what she was meaning, sweetie.
Just putting some stuff back in my car. And again, he was very evasive and vague in regards to her questions. But she just said, look, get something to eat, get back on the road, and get home. Just
fucking God.
You're so close. Just get home now. Hurry up and do it. The deputies left, and that was that. And this is where a lot of what are you doing comes into question, because I mean, I would have requested that the deputies drive at least as far as the county line for like their jurisdiction to make sure that he was doing it. I would have asked that the sheriffs or the deputies take him to the station and detain him, or at least stay with him while they get in their car and drive the 2 to 3 hours.
That's what I mean.
Something.
Like, I've got to agree with everyone else here. Like, this is fucking retarded.
There's two very clear options right there. You can either, like, they can at least drive to the edge of their jurisdiction and make sure that he is on his way, because she's already declared him missing. Yeah, they found him, but that doesn't change how he's been acting already for the past 12 hours, or nearly 12 hours at this point, because it's 7 p.m. and he showed up at his girlfriend's house at 11 p.m. after breaking up with her the night before, and has been behaving erratically since. That's grounds for concern.
Literally though, but I feel like there's even like a third option. Like, Kirstyn seemed like a really good Samaritan who clearly lives in the area. Like, could they not have been like, hey, let's go drive with Kirstyn for a couple of hours while mom and dad drive to him?
Kirstyn's about to make a reappearance.
Oh, yay for Kirstyn.
And this is why I said he is the goodest egg, especially in this story.
He's like such a little bean pie.
And I know that goodest isn't a word, but I use it anyway.
Live your fucking dreams.
Yeah. You say potato, I say potato. No, but I literally say potato.
I'm just imagining you being like in a restaurant and they're like, did you want the potato or the zucchini? And you're like, the potato.
I've told you the story about why I say potato, right?
I don't think so, to be honest with you.
I was playing like this weird little indie game and it kept giving me seeds, and all of the seeds had like weird names, like not actual names. Like it was Blue Frazzle and Blonsbury and I don't know. I'm just making up words at the moment. Like, but it was those kinds of things. So nothing else was an actual word. So I was reading them phonetically and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then I get one and I'm like, oh, let's go plant some potatoes. And Chris just turns and looks at me and he's like, some fucking what? I'm like, some potatoes. And he's like, stop and read that word again. And I looked and I'm like, yeah, potato. Potat. Potato.
You know what's funny though? You said that you're reading it phonetically, but potato isn't the phonetic reading.
No, but that's how my brain.
It's to like potato.
But I read pot toe.
You like broke it up in such a weird way.
So that's how my brain took it, and I was like, oh, okay. It's the same as how the time I couldn't remember the word for firefighter and the words fire police came out of my mouth, and that's just what they're called now. I refuse to call them anything else. They are the fire police. Should probably continue with this story.
Probably.
Later that night, Kirstyn calls them back after a missed call he'd received earlier that day when they were frantically trying to find out where he was, because...
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Before they'd reported it, but either around the time they'd reported him missing, because they were frantic. They were confused. They didn't know what was going on. So he called them back and they update him on the rest of the day's events, and he decides to go out to the location to check, and he's not expecting to find anything. But
Sweetie should just start expecting to fucking find Bryce chilling in his car looking like a fucking zombie.
Literally. Bryce's car was still there, in the exact same spot it was in when the police left. And he was still in it. I keep waiting for you to ask every time, and I'm like, fucking, she's not gonna fucking ask.
No, because I'm just fucking assuming that he's in it.
Because
apparently no one else but me is assuming that he's fucking gonna be sitting in his car. And you know what? If someone fucking leaves this fucker again, the next time they check, he ain't gonna be in it.
He's still sitting there in the car, and he speaks to him, and he finally convinces him, look, dude, you need to fucking go. Like, they're waiting for you.
Maybe he should like call Karen and be like, hey, Karen, your son is clearly fucking on something. You need to come and get him. And maybe just like stay on the phone with him while you're driving. Like, I don't know. Some options.
Sorry. I was responding to a message. Reese was like, how'd the recording go? And I'm like, it's still going. Yes. So this time he finally starts the car, gets on the I-5 and starts driving home. Bryce follows him for 10 miles. I did not find out how much that is in kilometers, but it's 10 times what one mile is. It's a decent amount.
10 miles.
He follows him for 10 miles before calling Karen back and saying he believes
16 kilometers.
All right, so that's a decent amount to follow someone.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, he's followed him a decent way. He calls Karen back and says he believes he's genuinely on his way home this time. His driving seems safe and nothing seems awry. So he's turned around and gone home. And at this point, I didn't get an exact time as to what all of this said, as to when all of this occurred, but everything I read kept saying that he had been in Buttonwillow for more than 13 hours. So if he made the road assistance call at 9 a.m. and he left 13 hours later, that would be 10 p.m.
Okay.
That would be how I read that. So he's left sometime after 10 p.m. So Karen and Bryce spoke a few more times throughout the night following his exit of Buttonwillow, each time asking how far he was, if he could see any landmarks or any signs to confirm that he was on the right way. And he kept saying, I can't see anything. It's too dark. It's too dark. I can't see anything. You have headlights and you're on an interstate, which I'm assuming is like one of our highways where shit is lit the fuck up.
Okay, not all of the interstate will be lit up, especially between rural areas.
But
so I'm kind of with him on that.
Enough to see signs, and also you have headlights. But
I don't know California because I know that between like New South Wales and Queensland, there are some points where I can go like an hour without seeing anything.
Here's the part that bothers me. So by our math, he left Buttonwillow at about sometime after 10 p.m. So one would assume between 10 and 11. All he kept saying was that his GPS said that he would be there at 3:25 a.m.
Okay, but if his GPS shows landmarks on your GPS.
Yes, but also it is a 2 to 3 hour drive from Buttonwillow to Laguna Niguel. And if he left at 10 p.m. and it's going to get him there at 3:25, that's 5.5 hours. So that in itself doesn't add up. And if I was Karen, I would have been questioning why it would take so long.
Okay, anyway. But if I was Karen, I'd be questioning a lot. But like Bestie doesn't seem to really question things.
So just after 2 a.m., he calls Karen and he informs her that he's tired and he just can't drive any longer. And that is understandable because at this point, we know that he has been awake for about 48 hours minimum.
Gross.
Because we are now up to Friday morning, 2 a.m. Friday morning. He left
Wednesday.
He left Kim's house at 11 p.m. Wednesday night. So that's 24, 25, 26, 27 hours minimum that we know that he's been awake for.
Yeah.
And there's probably been more before that. That's a lot. So yeah, he's gonna be fucking tired. And Karen agrees that while he is only an hour and a half away from home, according to his statements as to when he will be there, she agrees it's not safe for him to keep driving if he's tired. So she tells him to pull over, get some sleep in his car, and continue driving in the morning. They'll see him then. So they end the call, and his parents go to bed and call it a night. Which is fair. He said he's going to sleep. It's 2 a.m. They've had a stressful fucking day. I don't know. So when the doorbell rings at 8 a.m. at their home in Laguna Niguel, the following morning, August 30th, Karen and Michael are expecting to find Bryce at the door, but instead are met by the police. The officer informed them that their son's car had been found at 5:30 that morning at Castaic Lake. Abandoned. Castaic Lake is halfway between Buttonwillow and Laguna Niguel, about an hour and a half drive from both, meaning in the space of about 5 hours, he had driven 1.5 hours worth of distance. Yeah. Your face says it all right now. So the car was found at the bottom of a 25-foot, which is 7.5 meters embankment, overturned on its passenger side. The rear window appeared to have been pushed or kicked out from inside the vehicle, and a few small drops of blood were observed inside the car, but nothing substantial, and no blood was observed outside of the vehicle. So it was deduced that he unlikely sustained any serious injuries, as he wasn't bleeding and he was clearly able to move to get out of the vehicle. His belongings, including his phone, wallet, and laptop, were all found in the vehicle. Investigating the scene, it becomes evident that the car was not driven off the embankment by accident. It was pretty much put there. Yeah, in fact, it was pretty much very clear that he was at the top of a hill. He drove down it, he had his foot on the accelerator, and he held it on the accelerator. So it doesn't look good. It looks like it was intentional that this crash happened. Furthermore, surveillance camera images from it's like a service road leading up to this lake. There's a camera that takes a photo of cars and their license plates as they approach. A photo was taken of Bryce's car driving up the hill at 2:15 a.m. So that was just minutes after telling his mother he was going to pull over to get some sleep, which one could assume that's what he was doing. You know,
I guess.
Seems like a peaceful place.
It's a place to spot, it's a place to stop.
This in itself, not all that weird. It is weird when it's coupled with the second photo. So there's a second photo showing the number plate of his car on the same camera, on the same road, coming up the same hill in the same direction, somewhere between 4:25 and 4:30. So just over 2 hours later. So there's 2 hours missing between when he first drove up that hill into the lake and when he drove up that hill again.
But he's going in the same direction in both photos.
Yes. So he's driven
out.
He's driven out from where he drove in, and he's driven back up.
Okay.
So he's come back to that lake, to that spot.
Really
So the area was searched thoroughly over the space of a few days. They had the use of police, helicopters, divers, and volunteers assisting, but nothing was found. They also brought in dogs at one point for a search, and they led the trail from the car across a bridge to a nearby truck stop, and the trail ended there. And I've actually heard report that they did that twice with 2 separate dogs. Both led the same place, but it didn't lead anywhere. And then comes September 4th. So this is 4 days after the car was found. They found charred remains near Castaic Lake in the same area. However, these were from an entirely unrelated crime. It was just a coincidence, unfortunately.
Coinky-dink.
Now, I have heard tell that the Lespices have hired a private investigator since, and that much like the official investigation, it hasn't led anywhere. But I couldn't really find any specifics about that, any specific information. So as far as I'm aware, this has not gone anywhere. Now, given his strange behavior leading up to the crash and the fact that the vehicle was clearly accelerating to the embankment, the police initially believed that he may have been suicidal and considered the possibility he may have been trying to take his own life. However, and there was also the theory that when the car crash failed, he got out and just walked into the lake. However, they dredged the lake with divers and they checked, and his body never showed up. It's also never come to the surface, which it would have by now. It would have pretty early on. It's California, for fuck's sake. Like, it's not going to stay down there long. They don't have a winter. So that theory is pretty much moot. Some have theorized he may have suffered a psychotic break caused by the substance abuse. Does track, but doesn't fully explain everything. Detectives at this point firmly believe that he simply decided to walk away from his life and start anew. This fits with the giving everything away, cutting ties. It fits with the trails to the truck stop. He may have managed to hitchhike with someone. He left everything behind, but his family completely disagree with this. So they are...
but his family also made some like super bad choices.
They strongly hope that he's still alive, which I completely understand. Of course, you would want that to be the case, but they are also adamant that if he is still alive, he has no idea who he is, because he wouldn't do that to them. There is no... So they've left his social security details up to, like, as they were. All of his passwords and everything are the same, so that if he ever tries to access them again, they'll know. But he hasn't as of yet, and it's been... This was 2013, it's 2022 now, so that's 9 years. Nearly 9 years. August this year will be 9 years. Fuck. So I don't think that's the case. They are adamant that he's forgotten who he is, but they think that the accident caused that, which, yes, an accident can cause amnesia, but that doesn't explain the behavior leading up to it.
So what do they think about the behavior leading up to it?
I can't really see a clear response in regards to that. I don't know. I'm wondering if I'm missing something because I can't watch this disappeared episode. But even from what I've heard from Kirstyn's coverage and the other stuff that I've read, that doesn't seem to provide any answers either. They're just
straight up like, oh, he was in a car accident, got amnesia.
I guess. A psychotic break caused by the meds that led to amnesia would make sense, because that would explain the weird behavior leading up to it. Perhaps a psychotic break leading up to the behavior beforehand and then the crash causing amnesia. I could understand that as well, but that still doesn't track, because this person clearly was still coherent enough to kick out the rear window of a car, cross a bridge, find a truck stop, and get a lift without thinking to grab anything that was in the car with them. So
I still think if I like crashed and lost my memory, my first instinct wouldn't be to get out of the car.
Yeah, it would be to search for clues and
like look at what I'm next to and like maybe open my phone and
treat it like an escape room.
Like, yeah, but you would have your contacts as mom and dad.
Yeah.
Or like your recents. I would be like,
I mean,
recents, who the fuck do I talk to?
I don't have my contacts as mum and dad because everyone in my phone is saved by full name, surname.
Fucking nerd. Rude.
So yeah, that is where we are at with this case. The police are pretty sure that he has walked away with his life, which I think actually kind of tracks. But yeah, so that is my case. I told you it was fucking wild. As far as a missing persons case goes, you keep thinking that he's missing and he's fucking not.
Okay, but I gotta agree with all these people that are like, the parents could have done more, because I agree with them. Like,
yeah,
I'm sorry, but like,
you've received 2 concerning phone calls in the space of a day, and then the very next day, or that very same night, he starts driving a long drive, and then just the very next day, he's just randomly sitting in a town for no reason that is 3 hours away from you. Just fucking drive the 3 hours and go
literally
and find out.
Like, Kirstyn was willing to drive with him X amount of Ks. I'm pretty sure Kirstyn would have been more than happy to just fucking vibe with the kid.
Yeah.
While Karen drove to him.
Yeah. And I mean, Kirstyn wouldn't have had to fucking do anything because clearly this kid is cool with just sitting and staring at his windshield.
For fucking 3 hours, or fucking more than 3 hours.
Which...
It was 2 hours away, wasn't it?
Buttonwillow was about 3 hours. Was about a 3 hour drive. Yeah, 2.5 to 3 hours. So he's been sitting there for 13 hours doing nothing, just sitting in the front seat, staring at his windshield. So But
I'm also of the mindset that I wouldn't have told Kim to give him back the keys. I got to agree with all the people that low-key put the family at fault a bit here.
But yeah, so that is my case. Sorry that it was a lengthy one. That was a bit longer than I thought, but there's just so much to it that you can't just ignore. Like, there's big important chunks to it. And it's an interesting one. I feel like it was a little bit depressing, so I'm sorry about that. I'll try and have something a bit more fun for you next week, something a little wacky and out there. I'll see what I can do. But also
I was about to say mine was lighthearted, but no, it wasn't.
No, it was not. Can't even give you that. Just, I feel like anyone anywhere in the world, just look up this guy's name, Bryce Laspisa, Laspisa, and just look at his photo. He's still missing. He could be anywhere in the world. Like, who knows?
He could be someone you know.
It's been 9 years. It would be awesome if he could be found, but I guess at this point, that's all we've got. So that's
what do we do if we do recognize him, Jeramie?
Well, I'm pretty sure that there is a way to put me on the spot, but I am pretty sure that there is actually a missing persons page up for him, both on Facebook and just in general.
In general, you could just like call.
Yeah.
Call who?
I guess well, no, not Crime Stoppers in America.
It wouldn't be Crime Stoppers. Like, would you call the FBI? They deal with missing persons, don't they?
I think so. I did actually have a link for there is actually a phone number that you can call. I don't know how American phone numbers work, so I'm not going to even try to decipher it. But even if you just look him up, it brings up straight away pages with his photo, with the information about his disappearance, and both a Gmail and a Facebook link for the missing persons page for information. So definitely look into that. And I guess the sucky part about me going last is that we're never going to get answers. So, I mean, at least I can try and make up for you bringing us down with some depressing crime stories. But I guess I'm going to depress us more with the lack of answers at the end.
Yeah, I was going to say, most of mine will have answers, but I feel like people are going to be really sad because like sometimes the justice system is just, it ain't it, chief.
Maybe you can bring me like a happy crime once in a while. Something that's like not sad and upsetting.
I did see a funny one that I'm probably okay. I know what I'm gonna do.
Okay. Cool.
I'm not going to say anything else.
Look, it's been a long one and I'm sorry about that. But I mean, you got to get to know us. And I mean, I think we touched earlier on that we don't really make great first impressions. So if you're still here at this point, thank you.
Thanks, fam.
Please
Appreciate it.
Please give us another chance and stick around. If you do want to hear more, we have another 2 episodes live ready to go right now. We're uploading our first 3 all in one go. So if you do want to try and get a second impression of us, maybe we'll do better next time.
Or
although I think we did great.
If you were a crackhead like us, like join the crackheadery and come and listen to the other episodes.
Yeah. I definitely will have something fun in store for you next week. I think I've got an interesting one. And if you want to find us or contact us, we have some socials up ready to go. So you can find us on Instagram and Twitter. I will admit, I don't know how Twitter works. I probably should learn. But you can...
I know how to use Twitter.
Okay, so you can be the Twitter person and I'll be the Insta person.
Okay, oh my God, that's such a genius idea.
That works. But you can find us on both at RFIMH podcast, all one word. And you can also reach out and send us an email if you want with any thoughts, feelings, hopefully nice
to
ones.
tell us how amazing we are.
That would be great too. Even if you have any case suggestions for either of us, we have an email address ready to go. And that is the same as our Twitter and Insta handles. So that again is RFIMHpodcast@gmail.com. And I guess we're done here.
Sayonara? Wait, how do you say that?
Sayonara? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, why did I get senor?
Is it because your brain is still on the Mexican cartels? Like senor?
I think so. Senor! Senor! Wait, what is it? Oh my God.
Sayonara.
Sayonara, senors and senoritas. I was like, oh my God, what's the girl equivalent? And and all you guys, and gals, humans, senoras. What's a senora?
It's like the same as Miss and Mrs. You have senoritas and senoras. Right.
But do they have like a Ms or an X? What's the X one?
I don't fucking know.
All right, cool. Someone can email that to us, or maybe we'll find out next week. Direct
that at Kirstyn, not at me. Direct all of your bad feedback at Kirstyn. I'm too fragile.
Thank you. I'm a bitch, so.
Alrighty. Again, thank you for listening. We hope to see you again. Bye.
Bye-bye.